It is day 2 of the RICO trial against young Thug et al., aka the Young Slime Life, YSL, Young Successful Life. Yeah. Yesterday was interesting, wasn't it? Um, yeah. Um, what an absolute cluster F. Yeah, I put up a poll. What will go wrong today for you to amuse yourself with? Will a lawyer be late? Will the judge be late? Will DA Fanny and ADA Love get out? It's so bad. I'm so sorry. No, I'm not, but it's funny. It's so funny. That okay. My humor is 12 years old. Okay. It's well, good morning here on YouTube. Good morning here on Rumble, and good morning on Twitter, I think. Let's check if yep, we are up at Twitter. So streaming to 3 locations, so you can all just hang around whatever platform sees fit for you. And yeah, whatever fits for you. I'm just here relaying as best as I can what will happen today. But on the docket, it's the defense opening statements. They started with one late yesterday evening. I listened to it today at work. And yeah, interesting. But how can this is what's on the docket at least, and it might be one more who speaks for all of them, but I suspect that it is 5 more defense opening statements because they are all representing their own client and their own client's interests in this. So this might be all day, but I hope not. It shouldn't take that long. If yesterday is anything to go by, they will take 45 minutes each, I would guess, to try to demolish the state's case, which, in my opinion, shouldn't be that hard. Well, brief encounter. What is this trial about? This is about YSL, and it's a record label and a group of friends, according to themselves, in the neighborhood, all grew up under difficult circumstances. The prosecution alleges this is a very, very dangerous street gang with affiliations to other dangerous street gangs, such as the Bloods. But they have all the burden. All the burden. Now, I have the advantage in I've watched much of the pre-trial motions and hearings and stuff like that, so I might be a bit biased. I try to make it very subtle. If you haven't noticed, I'm not good with subtlety. I really not. But that is the allegations from the prosecution, which goes under the Georgia RICO Act, racketeering, whatever, which basically means what one person in that alleged gang does, everybody's guilty of, more or less. And sorry, I had some spring rolls for lunch and it kind of got stuck. Yeah, I will close. I will do this if I need to pick my teeth, because yeah, it's not appetizing watching old guys pick their teeth. Oh, Scroty McBoogie Just saw you live and wanted to say hi and hope you're having a great day. Sorry, can't stay. Not really interested in this trial, but live to watch you wherever you're at. Yours, Kim Bob. Thank you, Bob. I'm very, very grateful for that. And first today was Brandon. Thank you for your $2 super chat. First, yay. Rob Mill, where did Dapper Dan go? Who? You lost me. And hello to all my regulars. And hello to you who are new here. And yeah, for you who are new here, hi, I'm Nick. I'm Swedish. I do labor law, which means I'm not that familiar with local US laws, but I've been doing this trial watching for a year now almost. And so I'm getting the hang of it. So you can see it as I'm learning and I'm trying to convey what I learn to you as well. But I also bring on guests on occasions. You saw yesterday with Mo, Dave, Sal. If you watched me last week, I had Southern Law and other people. So a plethora of people just to help guide us through these proceedings. Well, yes, the proceedings, yeah. They allege that the YSL is a gang under the RICO Act, and under the RICO Act, everybody is guilty for everybody's crime. That's the short version. They have 191 acts against all of them. They allege Mr. Young Thug, Jeffrey Williams, is the leader of this gang. And all of this, they have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt. The crimes or acts, they claim, happened between 2012 and 2021, including, but not limited to, having a gun while being a felon, some drug charges, up to murder charges. Oh, Dapper Dan is referring to my attire yesterday morning. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I just came home from work then. So you saw me as you would if you saw me in a professional setting. I mean, suit and tie, or jacket and tie at least. So, yeah. For my regular viewers, that might have come as a bit of a shocker because I like to dress casual. Sal says, well, beyond a reasonable doubt, unless you listen to the burden shifting in state's opening. Yeah. But, so they tried in the state's opening statements to shift the burden towards the defendant. Why didn't they? You're not allowed to do that. Prosecution has all the burden of proof. The defendants have zero burden of proof. Once a defendant walks into the courtroom, he or she is innocent. Doesn't matter, oh, he was arrested. That means they have something. That's in the past. Oh, they charged him. They must have done something. Doesn't matter. He sits there, or she, as a complete random person. And there's another random person with a law degree saying, I'm saying he did all of these things, or this thing. And I'm going to prove it with evidence and testimony and expert witnesses. Okay. So when people say you have to go into a trial unbiased, I do not agree. You should go in and watch a trial biased towards the defense or the defendant, because that's the foundation in Western judicial systems. Innocent unless the prosecution proves beyond a reasonable doubt. That person is innocent until the moment the jury reads the verdict. Not until then. In the United States, at least. That's your system. Hi, Toddly Pip. You missed your end of stream yesterday. So did I. Because, I mean, around, what time was it? I don't remember. I was falling asleep, more or less. But thanks to Dave, who brought everything home. But yeah, yesterday's state's opening was horrifyingly bad, in my opinion. Horrifyingly bad. And I'm not sure how they will recuperate. But, and the first defense opening statement was decent. In my, they didn't have to say all of these things about his defendant, but the general thing was the prosecution has nothing. From 2012 to 2021, everything they are charging now as acts or as charges, they didn't have enough evidence to bring as separate charges. So that's the main thing here. I have, let's see here, I have one stream up. Let's see here, just to check. Oh, going through. Bit of yeah, I'm checking in with. Okay, ANF not up yet, and okay. According to Law and C-Word, we have 30 minutes before the court opens up today. I forgot to check that on yesterday's stream, which I listened to earlier today, that they were meeting later today. Feral housewife. Does YSL's equals young slime life? Yes. They changed it later to young successful life, but at the time of the things that the prosecution argues, young slime life. So let's see here. I had something up here that I thought was a bit interesting. There he is. Yeah. Hold on. Now that we can entertain ourselves with meanwhile while we wait. At the stage. Yeah. This is Judge Juror Glenville, Chief Judge. So let's have a quick peek at what he have done up until now. What is his actual career? He's a graduate, Leadership Atlanta. He has been a probation officer for Georgia Department of Correction, Fulton County. So he is very much a local. He was a prosecutor, solicitor's office of Fulton County, Georgia. Okay, so he knows that courtroom inside out. And as many judges, he is a former prosecutor. And nothing wrong with that. In my opinion, there should be more defense, people with more experience in defense also. But thank you, Velu87, jury in the YSL. 7 black women, 2 black men, 2 white women, 1 white man, plus 6 alternates. 18 total jurors in the courtroom. Okay, so yeah. I do remember the in a previous stream about a few weeks ago, I had everything written down. I have the notes somewhere. Do you know anything about great granny lawyer for one of the? You have to be more. There's at least 2 who are above the age of 122. Let's see here. More about. Let's see here. Oh, adjunct professor, University of Maryland and City Colleges of Chicago, European divisions. Oh, he has been a defense attorney. United States Army Trial Defense Service. All right. He went into the army. Interesting. What else? Senior prosecutor, Office of the Staff Judge Advocate. Senior prosecutor. Okay, so he has jumped between positions, both prosecution and defense. That's good. Yes. Yeah. Senior trial prosecutor, Solicitor's Office of DeKalb County, Georgia. So he has been a trial prosecutor. That should explain his outburst yesterday. He has had a few of those during the pre-trial thingies. But yeah, as I said yesterday, I would hope he would be more bite than bark. Especially after almost a year of prosecution's shenanigans. And yeah, for some reason, we are still here. For the trial start, because there has been a lot of shenanigans from the prosecution during the pre-trial motions, especially regarding discovery, which he had to give 3 different court orders just to get the prosecution to hand over discovery. The old lady with the Mason-Dixon part on top of her head. They ran out of public defenders. Oh. Okay, but more about Judge. Litigation associate, Arrington and Howell. Okay. So he went into private practice. Yeah, private practice, oral, Glenville, PC. Yeah. Okay, that's a jump. Commanding General, NATO Rule of Law Support Mission, Rule of Law Field Force, Afghanistan. That would be international law and the Geneva Convention and stuff like that. That is high up there. That is really high up there. That's really high up there. Commanding General. Yeah. He was top dog there in the Rule of Law Field Force. Brigadier General, Chief Judge, United States Army Court of Criminal Appeals. Okay. I understand how he got elected. Yeah, so that is his CV. Why do prosecutors leave their position and go to defense? I see that a lot. 1, experience. You need to see the other side. 2, money. Private practice defense lawyer can be lucrative. And most prosecutors do not make that. I mean, in the bigger counties, yes, they can make a bunch of monies. In the smaller counties, well, it's still a good pay. Don't get me wrong, it's good pay. But say you can make 150 grand a year as a prosecutor, as an ADA, for example, assistant district attorney. But in the same county, a good defense lawyer who gets hired, that's 3 or 4 times that, potentially. But then again, many defense lawyers out there barely go by. Still, this judge never met the decision in favor of the state that it doesn't like. NATO rule of law, support mission sound more civilian aid to Afghanistan than Geneva Convention to me. Let's check. Okay, yeah, that's more civilian. Let's see here. I will. From Lawfare. Stand-up rule of law field mission support in Afghanistan. It is to foreign relations and international law. Oh God, what? Jesus Christ, don't do wall of text. Oh, I hate this. All right, let's. The mission of the NATO Rule of Law Field Support Mission is to furnish essential field capabilities, liaison, and security to Afghan and international civilian providers of technical assistance deployed in Afghanistan's provinces and districts. These providers seek to build Afghan criminal justice capacity, increased access to dispute resolution services, and improve Afghan governance. Afghanistan's Director for Local Governance. Well, that went down the freaking drain because they helped build up the justice system, and now they're not there. And now the Taliban have taken over more or less. Not to any fault of this Judge Glenville. Now, let's not go into U.S. foreign affairs and what might or might not have been done better or not. But okay, now we know a bit more about that. So, yeah, what I have here is still and then waiting for Atlanta first to pull up theirs. Or you can just get some frequent flyers as clients. Yeah, that too. Long time ago, but I was approached by someone who inquired what my name was then. My father says, "You're putting me through college." Okay, that's funny. That's funny. That's really funny. Do they have the death penalty in Georgia? Yep. But don't think it applies under the RICO Act. I don't think so. At least I haven't heard anything about the DP being up here. Hi, I'm Bronst. What other questions do we have? Thank you, Ferl. She's twiddled my twatter. Share the stream, folks. Yeah, yes, please. Please do. It's that weird arrow on the right, bottom right somewhere. It says share. Or you can find my Twitter and yeah, and just do that. Morning, Indigo. Morning, Indigo. Good to see you here. Let me share the Rumble as well. Yeah, I have a handful watching there. But if you prefer Rumble, here is that stream. And thank you for you who watches me over at Rumble. I am currently at 197 followers. So if you have a Rumble account and haven't followed me there yet, please do get me over 200 followers on Rumble. That would be really, really nice. And oh, I almost forgot. Hold on while I just check first here. Dun, dun, dun. Yes, thank you to the person yesterday who gave me a $5 Rumble rant. It must have came in late because I didn't see it while I was online. But thank you so much. Sadly, I can't see through Rumble who made it or what they wanted said. I deeply apologize for that, but that's not in the Rumble thingies. When I check for that, I have asked for that through Rumble, that I can see it in retrospect if I miss anything, because when I stream through StreamYard, I see the YouTube super chats and memberships and stuff like that. I do not see. Did I pull up the court stream? No. Judge Glenville has his own YouTube page, and there's nothing there. So no. I can show you here. Dun, dun, dun. No, at the stage. There. So here you see he has one live video for a year ago. So no, unless somebody else have a different court stream. I do think they have a Zoom. Dun, dun, dun. No, can't find anything. Sorry. So we are currently waiting. Atheist Dan says, I'm sure today the state will run its own interpretations like it did yesterday. Yeah. Luckily, we have probably at least up until lunch the defense opening statements from the other 5 that we didn't hear from yesterday. It should have been done yesterday, but since, the absolute cluster F, that was the state's opening statement, which rendered in a motion to mistrial, which, in my opinion, if the judge wanted, he could have, but because the prosecution violated a direct order from the court, that should render in something, but it was a bit of a yelling. And sidebars yesterday. Good question, Atheist Ant. Went up to 7. I need to get one of these counters up. I don't know how I can do that in... I don't know how to do that. Sorry. I can put it in as a banner. So I can do it like this. Oh, I can do it like that. Okay. Good to know. Good to know. Let's see here. Bum, bum, bum. Yeah, I put it away for the time being. Rob Mills says, I think court districts, depending on the size, should have multimedia liaisons to disseminate information. Yeah. I mean, I'm seeing them use Zoom, but through a quick search through the Fulton County homepage, can't find it. And that's not unusual, because they are still having up orders from 2020 regarding, and that went away a good while ago. So the updates, not that good. Self-loathing lib, Rumble Ghetto over at Rumble. Hi, good to see you. Now, while we wait, what else can we do? We can... Oh. There was something... Oh, yesterday, yeah. Yesterday, the Maya Kowalski case. take care of my case. The defense wrote an opposition to no, not the defense. The defense, aka John Dropkids Children's Hospital, wants the judgment overturned, or a new trial, or reduce everything seriously, and then they went after jury number 1. And then the plaintiffs wrote a response, which was amazing. And the short gist of that is that they argue that the defense doesn't have, they mooted their right to accuse jury number 1 for misconduct, since, as the plaintiffs argued in their opposition, that even if that what they claim, that if the John Dropkids, even if what they claim might render in an interview with the juror, it shouldn't, because they waited until after the verdict, while they had information before the verdict and during the trial. And you've seen that a bit in the Murdock case when it comes to what about misconduct and jury tampering. If you have a reason, if there's reasons to believe that you had the information during trial and did not bring it up to the court's attention, you can't bring it up afterwards just because you wanted to wait to see what the verdict would be. So that is the argument from the plaintiffs, that the judge shouldn't even do the interview. And while looking through what jury number 1's wife did on social media, let me just say this. If you know your partner is on a jury, that it's not hard to find out what case you're on, especially not if it lasts weeks. But you might want to be careful with what you do online, because it can be interpreted as your partner in the jury is violating court instructions, and that's not good. For instance, in this case, and you have seen it regarding during the jury selections, that this judge has no issues in handing out punishments for people who don't show up for jury duty, who don't and does something stupid. I think he has, during the jury selections, at least 3 potential jurors got contempt of court. One, they all had the choice, more or less, to you either spend a few nights in the slammer, or you do something else, as in write an essay about the importance of jury duty. You need to have it at least 1,500 words, was one of them. The latest one was not that long ago, and she had a choice of 5 days in the slammer, or spend 5 days in the courtroom watching the trial. Yeah, thank you, Sam. One wrote a 30-page essay, including citations. And the issue was jurors showing up, then not showing back up. One juror left the country and was arrested the second she came back. Yeah. And she tried to argue in court that she didn't see that she was called back. But then they brought up that we can see you contacting the clerk of courts. You called her, so you knew. Yeah, don't try to lie. Oh. Yeah, and I also have to say thank you to all that showed up yesterday. I had good numbers for my little channel. Really, really good numbers. And I'm very, very humbled by it that you choose me. And seriously, I'm a Swedish guy who enjoys law and enjoys learning law and tries to convey that knowledge back out to you while having fun screaming at the prosecutor, screaming at the judge, or screaming at the defense or defendant. Sorry, I have to blow my nose here. I'll be back in just a second. Let me do. All right, I'm back. Yeah, no, I'm not getting a cold. It's just cold. Today, it's here. Yeah, today, in the middle of the day or in the afternoon, -5 centigrade. What's that in Fahrenheit? That would be 23 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's getting a bit chilly outside. And I've been outside most of the day today. Yeah, it's winter for me. Yeah, and my car has winter metallic every morning. That's a joy. Scraping all the windows, starting up the car 15 minutes and stuff like that. And you might, what? Starting up the car 15 minutes? Aren't you only supposed to do that for 1 minute? Is that allowed? I live in rural Sweden. I have my farm here, and who's going to complain that me starting up my old Saab 15 months? Peggy Sheridan. Hi, Nick. I found your channel yesterday and enjoy your contents very much. Thank you so much, Peggy, and welcome. I try to make most trials are really, really boring. This one has everything in it, especially yesterday, that makes it not so boring. And I assume some of it, at least, until they get into the rhythm, we can expect shenanigans. But I will try to make it as informative and entertaining as possible, even during the days when it is really boring. But thank you so much for showing up. I really, really appreciate it. The sock snatcher, knowing this just was a jag makes the essay or jail options very understandable. That's a common discipline method in the military. I didn't know if it's just common in courtrooms generally, though. I don't think it's that common. I don't know much about JAG. The only thing I know about JAG is through the TV series and a certain movie. You can't handle the truth. That's about it. And we are now waiting. Okay. It's 9:30. Come on, folks. Let's see if Atlanta first. Nope. Law and Crim is what we are waiting for at the moment. Yeah, thank you. While you're here, if you're completely new here and think, yeah, it's worth a shot, hit that subscribe button, press that thumbs up, and eventually, when you determine, yeah, good guy, entertain the thought of $3 a month to become a member. And that will get you members-only content where I talk about my farm, the renovations I do, and my morning thoughts during the sunrise and stuff like that. And yeah, apparently I make the most members-only content of all law tubers. Okay. The latest members only I did was when I decided to decorate my office. So my old replica of a 13th century North Germanic helmet got a bit of Santa and fake snow, and I really enjoy these small tomtar or gnomes, as you might call them. And my pretty little tree. And these are something I picked up from not a swap meet, like a Christmas fair. So I picked up snowman a good number of years ago. So they are still hanging around. I think they are sweet. And yes, I have lights too. I like Christmas. I just do. I didn't always like Christmas due to events in the family, but as I got older, just, yeah, I can see the appeal. And just, am I going to decorate for this is it in the office, and I have a few things out in the rest of the house as well. I mean, not the American way, maybe, but more toned down. But I do enjoy the lights. I really, really do. And just when I drive home, I mean, it's a 3-mile stretch of gravel road here, and we are 5 farms. And just driving by them and see the lights and everything, I mean, you get a bit cheerful. You get a bit. I should get a cap to match one. I have one. But I'm waiting for Sunday the 3rd, which is the Swedish first day of the Christmas season, which is this Sunday, isn't it? It's this Sunday coming. So I might put up something to question, has day 2 trial started or not? Oh, yes, it has. Thank you for reminding me. They just started the live coverage over at. So it is. They have the live at least. Let's see if nothing over at Atlanta first. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, so we are currently just waiting. Let's bring that up there. Where's jingles? There. Oh, Hold on. There. Yeah, and for you who don't know who Jingles is, that's my farm cat. He will probably join eventually. He's currently asleep over there, and I don't want to wake him up. And because Jingles is a cat that is barely waiting for me to pass on so he can grab lunch. But it does tenderize my legs on occasions, and you sometimes see him climb up on the back of my couch or chair. Are we having a Christmas lighting ceremony on the 3rd? Not really. Most of the towns here already put everything up. But in some towns, they have the rising of the Christmas tree on that day. But or at least turning on the lights. Oh. That guy is always late. From Twitter an hour ago. Let's see here. Dun, dun, dun. Let's see if I can find anything. Yeah, but I believe you. 10 or 10:30. All right, let's see. While we wait, no, I don't want to. Do you want to watch a bit of the Murdock sentencing while we wait? We can do that. That doesn't have any sound either. But while we wait, so we can see some Murdock sentencing. Yeah, he pled guilty, and for a combined of 27 years, I believe, and a truckload of money in penalties. But it's up to the judge, Newman, to accept it or not. I don't, or did he? I don't remember. We will see. We will see. There's no sound from court yet. I'm having both feeds up, so I will hear when Young Thug starts. Hello, Gigi. Everybody say hello to Gigi. Oh, you're not late. It's me who's early. Apparently, court doesn't start until 10 or 10:30 a.m. today. Yay. Gigi is my first and best moderator. She has been a lot under the weather for a while, but she is recovering. So thank you for being back. I hope you are getting better and better and everything. Yeah. So, well, my poll was, what will go wrong today? Lawyer late, judge late, J.A. Fanny and Miss Love got married. And it seems like the correct answer should have been judge late. Yeah, I would imagine this would freak you out if you saw that you were expecting the Young Thug, and then you see these guys. Liam 007. I live in Fulton and got a summons for jury duty for Young Thug's trial. The minute I said I read the indictment, watched all the pre-trial, and have a man rush on Brian Steele, I was promptly excused. Yeah, I would imagine that. I would imagine that. Ah, okay. Bunch of old guys and a few young ladies. And yeah, not much. Well, we seems like we are waiting for everything today. So I'm not sure. How can I entertain you? I can't juggle. Um, oh, I can tell you a bit of his history lesson. Well, not so much history lesson. For instance, you have the Nordic old Acer god Forsete. He had his own justice hall. Where he was the god of fairness and judgment and a bunch of other things. One of the lesser known ones. But what he did was that he was said to be a good negotiator, and that is why people got to him with their issues, crimes, stuff like that, for him then to pass judgment. And what he did was, hold on, I'll get it up. He had his golden axe. That bring me a bit bigger. There. He had his golden axe. I don't have a golden axe. I just have this ornament one thingy. And if the people didn't said, I don't approve of your judgment, woo, then he turned the sharp edge. But if they approved, he turned the blunt edge and struck it. And that is when his judgment was finalized. And that, according to legend or myth, is how the expression bang the gavel came to about 1,000 years ago. Still being used in some form in Iceland, but throughout courts throughout the Western world and some non-Western countries still use a gavel. Oh, sorry. There. So that's a bit of a fun little history lesson. I bet you didn't know that. Well, if you are regular on my channel, you would know that. I told this story during Halloween when I went to different streamers. What do I think about trying to stop recording in the courtroom? I think it's a good thing handled properly. For instance, you have the Koberger case about the that the judge told Law and Seaward and Court TV, stop focusing on the defendant. You are here to follow the proceedings. And they violated that time and time again. And then he threw them out and said, we will continue with recording in courts or stream from court, but through court cameras that he controls, judge. And that, I believe, it's a right that should be handled with care. Because we have seen some really, really bad prosecutions during this year on my channel, where if we only saw the news reports, we would say, yeah, I don't understand that. But once we actually saw the proceedings, we got, say, what now? So I do believe, that it's a good thing handled with care. You also had that crime streamer who got to her Patreon and sold snippets of streams with autopsy photos. That, in my opinion, is a violation of that victim's rights, and that person should, I don't know if there is a law against it, but if there is, yeah, I wouldn't mind that kind of sick individual spending some time in the slammer. Think they will win and stop. Who is trying to stop recordings in the Murdock? Is anybody trying to stop that? I don't know. Thank you, Excammer ZZZ, for your Norwegian krona, 50 krona, which is $4. How many neighbors make you be Santa every year? A few. And I did it more where the last place I lived, because there were more people around than I had. They had the choice of the classic Swedish Santa, which are more earth colors, or the new red Santa, the modern Santa. And then I walked over to kids and adults with brain injury and stuff like that. I mean, it's so hard. We have Swedish words for it, and I know some English words for it, but apparently a few of those words are considered very rude nowadays. But you know what I mean, disabled kids and stuff like that. So I did that. No, not as much, because I live rural, but I do visit the neighbors with kids. One neighbor last year was so funny, because he he went out to buy the paper, to get the paper, and the kids were more or less, we know that. And then I walked in, and that doesn't look like Daddy, because I mean the beard and the hair and everything. So that, and then the dad walked in behind me with the paper in his hand, and the kids, they're like 3 and 4 years old, but, oh, what? It was so glorious to see. It was so glorious to see. Overall, with I believe everybody in the U.S. judicial system, you have the right to be in that courtroom, and that right does not stop, in my opinion, with the technology. That's a technology neutral right. But it doesn't mean that you have be live streaming. It doesn't really mean video recording. It could mean audio. But I think that if we handle it with care and not do selling autopsy photos online, then it could be developed more to a more good thing, where we actually follow the proceedings. For instance, in the Take Care of Maya trial, or civil proceedings, when they read the verdict, they put a microphone on her and a close-up camera. I mean, that's just rude. That's so rude. I mean, that was such a moment for her. And we could see it without the sobbing sound. So, in my opinion, whoever was the camera technician, go screw yourself, you piece of garbage. And thank you again, X-Comer. Yeah, I hope you like that little story. Okay. Young Thug hasn't started yet. And we are waiting for sound here. Let's see here. Bum, bum, bum. YSL discussed in the Maya trial. Yeah. For some, something that I find really odd. An old tweet of mine has gotten some traction, and I'm not sure what happened. It is this. Let me. In the book, this is from January 6th of this year, so it's almost a year ago. I just read in the book See What You Made Me Do by Jess Hill about the incident in Stockholm for which Stockholm Syndrome is named. And I am royally pissed off on behalf of all women, buckle up. Yeah, that book, if you want to be really pissed off about how about the so-called Stockholm Syndrome. Stockholm Syndrome, hold on, is... come on. The Stockholm Syndrome is not a diagnosis. It's not even a syndrome. It is a Swedish psychiatrist who invented the term after a hostage situation in Stockholm after a bank robbery, where the main story is they took hostages, and the claim was that they developed feelings for the robbers during the hostage situation. And that is completely false, pure fiction, by a guy named Nils Bejerot. That's his name. That's the name of the absolute ass who invented. What actually happened was that the police at the time decided to, the decision was, in order to make the bank robbers uncomfortable, they randomly fired bullets into the bank just to make sure the bank robbers wouldn't be thinking they were safe. And that made the hostages really uncomfortable, really scared. So once the police said, well, afterwards, after all was handled, and Nils invented this, that because they were really pissed off at the coppers, the police officers and the negotiators that made this happen, that they didn't want to talk. They didn't even want to be witnesses or anything. They didn't want to talk because they were pissed off. And this ass, Dr. Bejerot, said that, well, this is because women can't control it. They got feelings for, because he refused to acknowledge that everything in that hostage situation was a complete disaster from the police force. So he was hired from the police force. He was a part of the negotiation team. And he's a complete asshole. Completely rubbish. He is the last remnant of the old... and on top of that, he believed in the war on drugs by the same reasons that the first wave of war of drugs because of, well, it makes, in his theory, it made white people behave like black people. And that he was such a complete asshole, racist piece of human garbage. You can't believe it. But that still lives on today in Sweden with the war on drugs. The latest in Swedish politics is that if you have more than 1 gram of cannabis, they assume it is for the intent to sell. So that's assumed in the new law. And that's an automatic 6 months in prison for 1 gram of cannabis. If you test positive, you can be found guilty of possession, because it's in your system. I mean, it's so inherently stupid, and it all traces back to Dr. Bejerot. And I've said it officially, and I will say it again. Dr. Bejerot is probably one of, if you count away old Swedish kings, he is personally, in my opinion, responsible for tens of thousands of the death of the taking of human life. Because without his inherently racist, misogynist opinions, with a complete void of scientific studies behind him, made all of that. I mean, we have the highest death rate by overdose in the entire European Union. We have 4 times the average. And their Swedish politician solution is to make harsher laws. The rest of the world is starting, or have started, or started a long time ago, to say, okay, that was wrong. Not here. But next generation is growing up, and hopefully they will do better. We are still waiting for sound. Oh, not that one. This one. Hi, Mim. Hi, Peace Peony. Are there not more serious crimes happening in Sweden? No, there is. But everybody wants to solve crimes, not to stop crimes. So police and prosecutors here, they want easy prosecutions and easy convictions. And the easiest there is, that person tested positive for cannabis. That person had 0.5 gram of cannabis. And if that person has 3 grams of cannabis in 3 bags, that's 3 separate crimes in Sweden. Because he's probably charged with possession of narcotics times 3, if that person has his things in 3 different bags. It's that stupid. Okay, it's 10 a.m. Nothing on Young Thug, and we are still waiting for sound. Hello, Lou Hillier, Mim, Sal, Peace, Farrell, Brandon, GD again, Wilhelm Media. This guy you need to subscribe to. He takes old and current trials and does magic with the sound. and removes the pauses and stupid sidebars and stuff like that. So, for instance, yesterday's 9.5 hours of trial should, in Wilhelm's hands, could be like 4. So if you're interested in old trials, I mean, oh yeah, today at lunch we will. I have a treat for you. Now, my regulars knows this, that every Tuesday and Saturday we watch a bit of the Jodi Arias trial. And we are currently watching the cross-examination of Jodi Arias. And she is getting slaughtered on the stand. So that will be a treat for you around lunch. I will redirect you over there. So we watch that during lunchtime. And then after we're done that, we go back to the Young Thug trial. So that is a treat for you who are completely new here. It's normally it's me and Dave over at Making Law Simple Network, but he has work. Yeah, he's actually worked. So I will have a different co-host at that. Yeah. Yeah, we are waiting for while we wait for the Young Thug to start, we tuned into the sentencing for Alec Murdock in his financial crimes. But they haven't started either, and there is no sound. Thank you, Xcomer, for another 15 Norwegian krona super chat. I remember once at Sweden Rock Festival, they had undercover cops checking people's eyes if they were red. I mean, it's so it's ridiculous. And because if you are at a festival, you don't sleep, you are drunk all the time, you have the time of your life. Of course, your eyes get red. I mean, please remember, hit that thumbs up. Or if you think I'm an ass, hit that thumbs up. Interaction, an active chat and stuff like that. YouTube likes it. So, yeah. Is this trial ever going to start? Well, it technically started yesterday with a complete, again, cluster F of events. But if it keeps going like this, the planned 6 months, I can more the Young Thug trial. I can more or less dedicate my channel for that because we'll be there for a long time. A bit of a planning. This week I will stream the entire trial or the entire court day. Next week I have a ton of work, so I will try. But it looks like it's going to be one of those weeks with recaps after when the trial is done, or when at least that day is done. I will do recaps about an hour or so, depending on how much happened that day. So that would be next week. The week after that, then we are 11th to 15th of December. That is when I assume is the last week of trial before holidays. They might have something on the 18th. I'm not sure, but we will see. That week I will stream the 11th to 15th. I will stream the entire day. If there is court 18th, 19th, and 20th, I will stream. If it is. But next week I have... In labor law, when you reach the holidays or starting to reach the holidays, there will always be some companies who says we have to downsize or something like that, and all of a sudden I get cases where I have to go in and negotiate, and that is what I'm doing next week, and for a major factory who decided no, we are going to relocate. Okay, we started to get sound. So that is what I have next week. Thank you. Thank you so much for becoming a member. Yeah, I know. You are just renewing your membership. But welcome back and stuff like that. No, court hasn't started yet. We are waiting, according to a chat earlier, between 10 and 10:30. It will start today. Dun, dun, dun. So we are tuning in on the sentencing of Murdock. Now, I'm not so worried about, worried is the wrong word, because the Young Thug trial, they take their time. So we will catch up in no time. But if this drags on and Young Thug starts, we are watching Young Thug because that's what I advertised. Hello, Sunny Tanner. Hello from Florida. I assume you have much better weather than I have. I don't know. Throughout this year, during the pre-trial and everything, always late. Every hearing has started late. Everyone. I can't recall one pre-trial hearing that was supposed to start 9:30 that wasn't late. Yeah, Pete Peony. The frustration of the Young Thug jury must be what because I don't know what they've been told, but if it is 6 months, this will take longer. It will. And that's so disrespectful. But it is all up to the judge. But he allowed the final 200 witnesses. Yeah, that will extend the time. Dun, dun, dun. I'm trying to get into Atlanta news first. Let's see here. Okay, I have the Atlanta news first. We are waiting for them to start over at that, and if I can choose something else, that what the frick? There. Let me close down a few tabs here. Make it easier on my poor. I have ordered more RAM memory, so hopefully I can get my computer up to a bit more speed. I currently have a 32 gigabyte RAM, but then by directions from my nephew, I went in and looked inside my computer, and it only uses 16 of those 32. And he tried to direct me to do something within the program. No, you should be able to use all of it, and then try to direct me to it. No. So I did the easy way out until he can get here to actually look into it himself. So I got 2 new 32 gigabyte RAM memories to put in there. They should show up today. So by tomorrow, hopefully I have slightly upgraded. Dun, dun, dun. Still haven't started in the young thug. Still haven't started here. All the potential juror has to say, I'm pro-prosecution and always will be. This defense will dismiss immediately. Yeah. I said that on to Southern Law, to Steve, a few days ago. If you could have the jury of your pickings in a trial, what would I choose? As a defense lawyer, I would choose 12 California gender study graduates and then dress my client in a dress and a wig. I mean, I don't make the rules. I just pay the system. Still no sound. Still not up there. Checking the Atlanta. Still haven't started. Oh, yeah, I know, Sonny. That's funny, sad, and true. Yeah. They showed Rittenhouse jury selection too. Yes, they did. The Potter trial showed a guy who laughed as a knight. Oh God, that's so funny. Oh yeah, Salvador Dali is covering the George Zimmerman trial. So if you're interested, go subscribe to Sal. He is closing in on 500 subscribers. He has the hours, but he is waiting for the final subscribers so he can get monetized. He's a funny guy, entertaining to watch. So give him a chance. Oh. Everybody's waiting for Young Thug. Yeah, it hasn't started yet. Neither Atlanta News First or Law and Seaward has started that yet. Thank you, Matt. My heat pump is doing great. I got this, what do you call it in English? Thermal. So I dug down half a mile of garden hose. Well, no, it's not garden hose, but you know what I mean. No, not a geothermal, or is it that? Geothermal, yeah. Not a power plant. I have a boiler. Ground-based heat pump, yeah. So that cut my bill in. I have the 1/3 of the electricity bill. So that's amazing. But I have, I mean, I have 46 acres here, so it was easy to dig down everything and get everything in. So yeah, I have a constant 20 degrees centigrade, which is 68 indoors. I'm good with that, except in the bedroom I have a lower heat because I like having it a bit cooler where I sleep. It's a pump and a tube. So the pump is in it's built in the boiler. And the boiler is a combined boiler. It's take care of the heat indoors and the water for shower and stuff like that. Oh, we are still waiting. Jeez. And you who are newcomers, I see more and more are showing up here. We are waiting for the Young Thug trial to start for the day. They are late for unknown reasons. And meanwhile, we are checking in on the Murdock sentencing, which also haven't started yet. Yay! And noon at Eastern time, we will. I have a treat for you. We will watch 1 hour of the Jodi Ares cross-examination, and she's getting slaughtered on the stand. And that's a 10-year-old trial, which was back then was huge. So we are checking in on that every Tuesday and Saturday, me and Dave over at Making Law Simple Network. And then we will get back to the Young Thug trial after lunch. So this stream will be in 2 parts. So what will happen is when at noon, I will redirect you to that stream, and we will watch an hour of Jodi Ares being verbally slaughtered on the stand, and then we will return to the Young Thug trial. Yeah, the frost line is, I dug down about 6 feet. Oh, thank you, Peace Pioneer, who gifted 5 memberships to Scrooty McBoogerballs, Excomaz, Retziem, Atheist and Danny T. 2 of you are new, 3 of you are returners. There for you, there is a link to my Discord. That is members only. If your Discord name is other than your YouTube name, please tell one of the moderators so they can get you access to the rest of the Discord, where you can talk about the trials and cases I cover now, old trials, give suggestions on new trials, share memes, and yeah, stuff like that. It's a very, very friendly Discord. So thank you so much for your 5 gifted memberships, Peace Peony. Much appreciated. What else is going on in the future? Well, in a month, December 29th, I celebrate my 1 year as a content creator on the YouTubes. So I will have a fundraising stream for the Zachariah Anderson Defense Fund, and where you have the opportunity to, as the money to the fundraiser goes in on his Gives and Go, and you give me some chump change, I will take a shot of whiskey and tell fun stories and have guests on and stuff like that. So it will be amazing. Brandon says those streams always takes years off your life. Here's the thing: after every one of those, the week after, I have a checkup because I'm not a spring chicken. Yeah, I'll admit that. But my physician, according to him, I'm healthy. I have normal cholesterol, normal blood pressure, normal whatever else they check, and so yeah, I'm fat but healthy. Who knew? Other things that will happen later is this Friday, after the trial is done for the day, we will have a finally Friday after work casual stream. I bring on friends, other streamers, other law tubers. We talk about random stuff, just having a good time with them, and you, the viewers, we interact with each other. we just have a good time. I mean, it's the end of the work week casual stream. So that is going to happen on Friday after the Young Thug trial stream is over. No, I rarely take offense out of anything. I mean, I've heard most of what can be heard, and I've seen most that can be seen, and I'm just having a good time. Oh, here they go in the Murdock.
Thank you. You may be seated.
Good morning.
Good morning, Roger. Good morning, Roger.
Oh.
Okay, Mr. Murdock. Murdock.
There he is, in the clothes he deserves for the financial crimes. Hi.
Hello.
Oh, you're coming in hot. Mic settings, automatic, dump. Yeah. We are watching, while we wait for the Young Thug trial to start, we are watching the Murdock sentencing.
Who is late today?
I don't know, but they are starting somewhere between 10 and 10:30. They haven't started yet. So we are all waiting for that.
Good to know.
Continuing on, the case of State v. Alec Murdock, Mr. Waters.
Thank you, Your Honor. Please support.
Yes, sir.
Your Honor is aware, of course, that as we showed up for a pre-trial hearing for a trial that will be going this week for the set of financial crimes as it related to the Satterfields, ultimately the parties agreed to a plea agreement to resolve the various financial crimes against Mr. Murdock. Returned for a negotiated sentence of 27 years in prison, that being 85% time that would have to be served before the possibility of any release. And obviously those are independent of the two existing life without parole sentences currently Mr. Murdock is serving for the murders of his wife and son. At that time, because that plea negotiation developed during the course of pretrial hearings, we deferred final acceptance of that negotiated plea until here today so that all the victims could be properly notified and be present and address the court if they so desired. And we have notified all the financial victims of the various indictments against Alec, and those who wanted to attend are either here or their representatives are here and will address the court at the appropriate time. But Your Honor, I think it's important because we ultimately did the factual basis sort of on the fly, and I did go into great detail. But I said at that time that I wanted to spend a little bit more time sort of laying the table, setting the table, and putting a little bit more meat on the bone since we are here post-Thanksgiving about the nature of the schemes that Alec Murdock conducted. And I will kind of walk through those to not only reset the plea agreement, but also to provide, Your Honor, some of the paperwork so you can see how this scheme ultimately went down. One of the things I would say again is that this is a negotiated plea, and as Your Honor is well aware, what that means is, of course, is that Your Honor, after hearing everything, of course, will, and that includes hearing from the defense and the victims, will either accept the 27 years or reject it, depending on, obviously, Your Honor's view of all that information. But Your Honor, to begin with this whole morass again, I think the easiest way for me to walk back through it would be to go in chronological order and to, again, talk about not only the counts that are being pled to and what's being pled to, but also kind of remind Your Honor of the facts. And I do have some exhibits that I'm going to hand up to Your Honor as we move through this, and I've, of course, already provided copies to the defense.
Prior to proceeding, Mr. Copeland, do you have any introductory comments?
Your Honor, only to note that at a juncture after Mr. Waters.
Hold on while I change to.
Did he steal money from the Catholic Church too?
Let's see if that helps. And I'm back. Let's get the Wi-Fi tuned up and try again.
Finishes, we're going to hear from the victims, and I'm told this morning some of the lawyers. My concern is that the Victims' Bill of Rights guarantees the victims the ability to make a presentation. I have no problem with that whatsoever. I'm sure extensive comments by them. But I'm concerned from what I read in social media about some of the lawyers making comments today. Some of them are they're going to express anger against me and Mr. Griffin and Mr. Murdock. Some of them are nakedly using this as an infomercial to sell coffee cups or T-shirts or bobbleheads in an effort to maximize economic return.
That's a punt on Eric Bland.
I would ask the court either to have the victim speak or the attorneys, but not both. And if the attorneys do speak, they address their comments to you and not to us. And their comments should exhibit the demeanor of this courtroom, not some sort of marketing ploy. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Harpoon. And certainly we will maintain the civility and proper decorum of the court. The parties are entitled, victims are entitled to representation, and the lawyers can speak on the victim's behalf, addressing the court and not addressing counsel. You may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. And again, just to kind of set the table, we all know through this entire process, through the murder trial, through my comments from the initial proceeding we had at this plea, the power and the influence and the family legacy that was exercised, that was so important to Alec Murdock, and the trust.
What's going on? I have perfect Wi-Fi.
And that law license on the wall had in that community and in the state in its entirety. And it was, and with the staff at the firm and with the people at the bank. And there were so many individuals that were trusting of Alec Murdock. And that is how this decade-long scheme was able to take place. And ultimately, we had people who came to Mr. Murdock for help, people that he told he was going to help.
We already know
and
this.
In many instances, there was significant funds that Mr. Murdock paid to those individuals. But that was how the scheme usually worked. It was a sleight of hand. It was where he was handing them a check and had their focus on that he was able to steal money from them behind their back. It was the fact that he used things like Palmetto State Bank.
I'm having
called the fake fours,
fiber broadband.
He told his staff to fill those out. And then those goes to
in
the
a few
finance
months.
office at the firm, and it looks legitimate. And your average staff member who is going to never question a powerful senior partner, but these look like legitimate expenditures. And so that was that trust, that power, that influence. That was the only way that these schemes were able to take place. And throughout this investigation, Your Honor, and this ultimately, when we first got involved, the state grand jury first got involved. It was late August of 2021. And I described it before as leading to a whirlwind state grand jury investigation because the side of the road happened not long after that. And we realized that we needed to devote a lot of resources to figuring out what's going on here because something certainly was rotten there and we needed to explore it. And that's one of the things that, along with investigating the murders, that we focused on. And I want to say this, I'm obviously standing
But
here.
this is for the financial crimes. Are they turning this into a murder trial and the murder trial into financial crimes?
I'm standing here in his shoes. He's
So we're going to hear a lot about the murders now
in this
because we
case
heard
as
a lot
well.
about
You
the
saw him at the
financial
murder
stuff in the
trial.
murders.
And
Yeah.
we've come to this result for a lot of reasons. And the reasons are, and the main reason
We are
is
waiting
that,
for
first
the
of all,
young
we
thug
have
trial to
these
start
admissions
today.
from Alec
They are
Murdock
late
that he committed all those
again.
crimes. We're able to detail those for
Nice
your honor
shock.
and frankly for the world because
Yeah.
it's important.
So we are watching the
the
sentencing of
South
Alec
Carolina
Murdock in
judicial
his
system
financial
have
crimes while we
accountability
wait.
for those that abuse it, and it's important that we explore the manner in which it was done in some detail,
I'm
so we can
putting out the
see
banner.
how easy it was for power and influence and trust to be used to steal millions of dollars for years and years. Obviously, as we began that state grand jury investigation with our partners at SLED, and I have a number of SLED agents that worked so hard on this case and on the murder case that are sitting out there that were instrumental as we started to develop this case and worked so very hard. But I want to say this as well, is that as we started to go through this morass of documents and financial documents and bank statements and checks. And again, I have a lot of the state grand jury staff sitting here. I've mentioned my co-counsel, Johnny James, and our forensic accountant, Carson Burney, a couple of times, who are also very instrumental in those early days in going through those. And we worked very hard. But I do have to say that we received a lot of cooperation through that process from the very early days, from the first grand jury testimony back in October and November of 2021. We received a lot of cooperation from.
Will you stop doing that? I'm on Edge and everything. I'm moving over to Chrome and see if moving.
I thought you were saying you were on Edge, and I was like, I'm sorry, how can I help? And
oh, hold on while I try to transfer.
it's like, you know, I don't know much about tech, but I can try to help.
Dun, dun. Dun, dun, dun. StreamYard. All right, I'll be back in a second.
Well, okay, so it looks like we are running on a theme, and at least we will know that court will never start on time.
Yeah, the young thug has, throughout pre-trial and everything, never started on time.
To figuring out what's going on here, because something certainly was rotten there and we needed to explore it. And that's one of the things that, along with investigating the murders, that we focused on. And I want to say this, I'm obviously standing here as a representative of the Attorney General's Office of Attorney General Alan Wilson. Obviously, Attorney General Wilson, I'm standing here in his shoes. He's obviously been heavily involved in this case as well. You saw him at the murder trial. And we've come to this result for a lot of reasons. And the reasons are, and the main reason is that, first of all, we have these admissions from Alec Murdock that he committed all these crimes. We're able to detail those for your honor and frankly for the world, because it's important that the South Carolina judicial system have accountability for those that abuse it. And it's important that we explore the manner in which it was done in some detail so we can see how easy it was for power and influence and trust to be used to steal millions of dollars for years and years. Obviously, as we began that state grand jury investigation with our partners at SLED, and I have a number of SLED agents that worked so hard on this case and on the murder case that are sitting out there that were instrumental as we started to develop this case and worked so very hard. But I want to say this as well, is that as we started to go through this morass of documents and financial documents and bank statements and checks, and again, I have a lot of the state grand jury staff sitting here. I've mentioned my co-counsel, Johnny James, and our forensic accountant, Carson Burney, a couple of times, who are also very instrumental in those early days in going through those. And we worked very hard. But I do have to say that we received a lot of cooperation through that process from the very early days, from the first grand jury testimony back in October and November of 2021. We received a lot of cooperation from the firm formerly known as PMPED. They had their staff members.
I started 8:45 just to have a recap of yesterday, talk a bit of crap with the viewers before the Young Thug trial started. And then after waiting for half an hour, I got the news that no, between 10 and 10:30. Now it's beyond 10:30 and they still haven't started in the Young Thug trial. Yay.
Their financial people who had done a lot of review themselves, the lawyers in the firm had done a lot of review, and they were able to provide us some of those documents that started this investigation, that gave us breadcrumbs that we were able to follow. And so they've been cooperative throughout that process. Similarly, Palmetto State Bank. Your Honor is, of course, aware that we've indicted Russell McPeak, who yet to be tried and therefore is presumed innocent until found guilty. But the bank was also in many respects, in those early schemes, conversion of those Palmetto State bank checks was how this scheme took place. And the bank similarly has been very cooperative in doing its own investigation, but also in providing access to documents and providing access to bank staff, some of whom you saw testify at the financial trial and at the federal trial of Mr. Lafitte. So those have been cooperative to us through this process. Ultimately, and I described this before, but I think it needs saying again, that we can talk about what the lawyers did and the Attorney General staff did and the state grand jury did and SLED did and our other law enforcement partners did. And
what SLED did you mean? Erasing phone data?
This long story of how this man was able to steal for so long from the system. But as I described before, the other people that were so crucial to that were the actual clients, the victims, and their representatives. And I described before, Your Honor, and particularly in those very early days, having to sit down with those victims as we were getting started and starting to put together some of those first cases and having to look them to the eye and say, I need your help to tell your story.
Look them in the
We
eye.
can't make change. We can't expose what's happened unless you tell your story. And I described it before. There was a palpable fear, particularly among those early victims, in coming forward because of the power, because of the influence, because of the belief that no one would ever do anything about what had been going on. And I told them that we would see this through to its conclusion, that we would be committed to it. And again, to a man or a woman, those individuals that I sat at a conference table much like this, looked them in the eye, and they ultimately agreed to come forward knowing full well their name would be out there. And they came forward knowing full well that they would have to go testify in front of the state grand jury, and they knew full well.
Well, that's an interesting development regarding Miss Becky Hill. Her son, who was in charge of tech IT and stuff like that in the courthouse, apparently as well, he's now out on bond, but he is charged with wire tampering, and in that they seized Miss Becky Hill's phone. So it seems like the old boys club in that county is more or less everyone in that county.
And that, Your Honor, again, was true courage, because I heard over and over again, Ms. Waters, again, you don't understand. I have to live there. You don't understand who you're messing with. But they still came forward.
I'm buffered for this is between StreamYard and YouTube's.
Ultimately, not only expose this long
media has been let in this courtroom, apparently. Thank you, Velu.
Through the course of Murdock's life. Your Honor, I have what's been marked now as State's Exhibit 1 that I will hand up, and this is just a timeline of how financial crimes developed throughout the course of this scheme.
We heard
As I
this in the
described
murder
before,
trial.
again, I'm going to try to walk through this as quickly as I can. But the first thing that we had was that Alec
Yeah,
ran into
sorry for
cancer
sounding
in,
disengaged,
2008,
but
2009, while the recession
I
happened.
don't think this
Uh,
man understands
After
quickly.
that, he had a number
No.
of early large recoveries.
You keep saying this word, and I
And
don't think
it's
you
because
understand what it
his partners and
means.
people around him, because the legitimate fees from those cases were so extensive to believe that he ultimately had righted the ship. And he did take those legitimate fees, but he was also borrowing so much money, and he then started
Yeah.
to steal from those large recoveries. And Your Honor,
If-
the first one that is part of the
if
state
an
grand jury cases
outside
is,
law enforcement should
Natasha
check in what's
Thomas
going
and
on
Hakeem.
in that
And
county,
Your Honor, there was a catastrophic
Um,
accident there. It left Hakeem quadriplegic.
Yeah.
He ultimately passed away. And Mr. Murdock came to the hospital to offer to represent them. One of the things that he had done was had Russell Lafitte at Palmetto State Bank appointed as a conservator. And that became crucial to this particular scheme. And ultimately, when those recoveries came in, and they were quite extensive, he was able to steal some of those. And the next exhibit I have, Your Honor, that I would hand up. And Your Honor, I would ask.
when I
not
switched
that question,
over
but this is-
to
we were
Chrome,
down-
I lost
there's
all
essential financial
the
information in there, and,
comments
we would
I
ask
had
that these exhibits-
starred.
I think we're important, Your Honor, to see that they remain under state
Oh.
this time, just because they do have financial information in them.
Hello again, everybody at Rumble, or well, the dozen or so. Please put something in the chat so other people see that
Exhibit right there.
it's an active live stream.
And Your Honor, this is the exhibit as it
Am I
relates to
loud?
Hakeem Pinckney. And what you see on that first
Well,
page
I
and on
came
the
in
second page
hot,
is really
so we
hard
pulled
work
me
done in this
down.
case. Because it's one thing to determine that a check went from where it was supposed to be and somehow ended up in Elliott.
Is this
Murdock's
better?
world. But it was another thing to figure out exactly how that money
I
was
don't know.
spent and how that money was dispersed. And ultimately, you can see here on that page that when Elliott Murdock, and this would be on December 20th, 2011, stole the $309,581.46, that when we looked and traced how that money was spent, a large portion of it went to go to pay back a personal loan from Charles Lafitte to pay his father, to pay the Hannah Plyler conservatorship, which is another conservatorship that Alec Murdock had set up in a case that he had where he had Russell Lafitte named as the conservator. And then ultimately he started to have, and Russell started to lend money from that conservatorship to Alec to keep Alec afloat, to keep him afloat on those many loans that he had with Palmetto State Bank that Russell Lafitte had given them. There's another conservatorship, Malik Williams, that substantial monies went to. But Your Honor, if you flip over to the last page of that exhibit, you'll see a disbursement sheet right here. And these are very indicative of how easy it was ultimately to steal. These disbursement sheets have the recovery amount at the top. They have the various sources, the insurance companies in there. And then they have the legal fees, which tended to be anywhere from 33 to 40% of, in this instance, a very, very large recovery. Costs and expenses and loans and medical bills. And then down at the bottom, there's just a simple thing that says disbursement to client, and it has Palmetto State Bank, $309,581.46. And based on those disbursement sheets that Alec Murdock would cause his staff to prepare, then the finance office at the firm would have those checks cut, as they were told to do by this man right there. And once he had that check cut to Palmetto State Bank, he would take it to Russell Lafitte at the bank, and then Russell, having a check in his hand, made out to Palmetto State Bank, would then convert that money to Alec's benefit in the manner in which he said. And in many instances, it was to pay back loans that Russell Lafitte had either given Alec Murdock to keep him afloat from the Plyler conservatorship or from other actual bank loans, to the point where Alec had gotten so much in hock to Russell Lafitte that Russell Lafitte was in hock to Alec Murdock. And in many instances, these loans, particularly early on, were used to stop Alec Murdock's financial situation from falling apart and from all of those loans going into default, much less the fact of being exposed that Mr. Lafitte and Alec together had been loaning themselves money from a conservatorship meant for the benefit to minor girls.
Did you say in hock or?
In hock, H-O-C-K.
In hock.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Your Honor, the first one, that being the Hakeem Pinckney, that is Alec is pleading to a representative count for each victim, but that was 2022 GS 4702 count 1, breach of trust 10,000 or more, and he's agreed to a 10-year penalty for that particular one. Your Honor, the next one.
Okay, found a channel who has started the stream from Young Thug. So
Woohoo.
let's get over there. We are just a couple of minutes behind. All right, this is what we were here for. Channel, thank you to all.
Oh, let it be short, angry man.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated.
4 minutes behind.
Okay, all right.
Skipping ahead.
He is
Oh,
short,
it's Mr.
angry man.
Steele. This can be
I
interesting.
mean, Mr. Steele, not short. I won't call him short, angry man anymore.
Finally.
Happy holiday season to everyone.
Thank you.
Jeffrey Williams was born into an environment, a community, a society that was filled with depression, despair, hopelessness, and helplessness. He was born, raised in the Jonesboro South housing projects. That's here in Southeast Atlanta. It's a very small 3-bedroom apartment. He lived with his 4 brothers in one of the small bedrooms. His 6 sisters lived in the other small bedroom, and his mother lived in her small bedroom. In the wintertime, it was freezing. In the summertime, it was scorching, because there was not that much money to go around to pay for utilities. The refrigerator and the cabinets hardly ever had any healthy food, and sometimes no food at all. In order to have the appearance of being able to wear different clothing, Jeffrey would share clothing with his brothers and sisters, neighbors, and friends in the community. And although the clothing was oftentimes dirty, at least it gave the appearance that he can have a different look from the day before. When Jeffrey would exit into the community, most homes' windows were boarded up. There were burglar bars on every entrance.
I will speed it up a bit because it's very
It's
slow.
not uncommon to find shell casings and human blood remains from the shootings that occurred. There was glass on the ground from the broken window of the cars. The cars are gone. In this environment of severe poverty, severe crime, Jeffrey developed 2 deep, embedded beliefs about our criminal justice system. The first one is that it is not justice. Our criminal justice system was not just, at least for people that he saw. Jeffrey would see over and over again people in the neighborhood who were known to be the liars. These are the people that would lie to their kids, lie to their mothers, lie to their brothers and sisters, and then somehow those people would be used by prosecutors, allowed to come before judges. And they would have reduced charges, reduced prison sentences, reduced probationary sentences, no charges at all, on their oath that they come in the courtroom to tell the God's honest truth.
Your Honor,
You have an objection, ma'am?
I have an objection.
What's your basis?
Your Honor, I'd rather approach and not speak it out loud in front of the jury. It will take 1 second.
All right.
Thank you.
If I put your list in by something.
All right, so we're starting the counter again, I guess.
Yeah. Is this revenge from yesterday?
Probably. But he's basically going up there and saying all their witnesses are lying.
Yeah.
So she might be a little upset about that. I would guess.
Dave is having his voice to text again.
He should have gone up there and said something about from Ricky Tikki Tavi. I would have. But I'm a jerk, so.
I
would
mean,
have said, Ricky Tikki Tavi is a fiction, just like this case.
yeah. But it's apparent that the prosecution really don't, because they didn't disturb the guy from yesterday particularly much. Oh, it's Second Amendment guy. His name is Harvey. I don't know if he is the reason they have a Harvey rule.
I still feel bad that he's a Padawan after all these years. You'd think he would have actually gone to be a real Jedi.
All right, Lucia, go ahead.
Jeffrey learned that
Ah,
these
they
liars,
lost.
these snitches, these rats, they would come into the courtroom, take a witness stand to tell the God's honest truth. They were still the same liars. And they would testify against people accused of crimes. Jeffrey thinks that the entire justice system is corrupt. It should be blown up. And everybody who feeds into that are awful people, stealing lives away from others. The next abiding belief that Jeffrey had growing up is his disguise for the police.
Oh, the banner. Oh,
He would see people walking on the streets. This could be an adult, teenager, a child. Wearing their backpacks, holding a football, bouncing a basketball, and the police just swarm in. They're aggressive. They search the backpack. They throw the football over the house. They kick the basketball down the road. It got to the point when people saw the police coming, they just ran. It's different experiences in different parts of America. It's different experiences in different parts of Atlanta. Jeffrey would be driving with his sister, youngest sister Dora. They're about a year apart. Dora is younger than Jeffrey. She's the youngest of 11 children of Jeffrey's mother. Jeffrey's the second youngest. He's the youngest young man. Those two, Dora and Jeffrey, are the same father. None of the other 11 children of Jeffrey's mother share the same father. And Dora and Jeffrey would be driven, get pizza, by their dad, and constantly. The car would be stopped for a window tint violation, of failure to maintain a lane, failure to use a turn signal, illegal left turn. His father would be handcuffed and sat on the curb, Jeffrey and Dora on the other side of the curb, the police rummaging through the car, saying, if we find anything, these kids are going to defects custody. That's how he grew up. But what really solidified Jeffrey's distrust for the police happened 3 days before his 9-year-old birthday. Jeffrey's born on August 16th of 1991. We are now August 13th of 2000. Jeffrey's older brother, they called him Beanie. He was 20 years of age, 11 years older than Jeffrey. He's shot in the chest. He collapses outside, not far from Jeffrey's apartment. The neighborhood comes out. Jeffrey and his family come out. They're praying over Beanie. It's going to be okay. There's help on the way. 911 was called. And what seemed forever, when the police finally did arrive, they didn't go immediately to Beanie. They had to push back the crowd. Jeffrey's mother was hysterical. She was screaming for her child to survive. The police handcuffed Jeffrey's mother, put her on the ground. And when they finally went to Beanie, put a sheet over his face, Beanie was dead to the police, even though his chest was still going up and down, he still breathing. The Jonesboro South housing projects were closed by the city of Atlanta in the year 2007. Jeffrey's now 16 years of age. His family was displaced. They were scattered. Most of them, not all of them, reunited and are now living in the Cleveland Avenue area. Jeffrey was not educated in his home about go to university, work as a flight attendant for Delta. Somebody would loan you money to start a business. Jeffrey believed that the only two ways he can break the generational hopelessness and despair for his family, himself, and he wanted to break it for as many people as he could who were in this struggle, was to be a professional athlete or an accomplished musical artist. Jeffrey chose the latter. And from that day forward, every week, every month, every year, to this day, Jeffrey practices to make himself a better musical artist. In Jeffrey's neighborhood, rap is a subset of hip hop. Gangster rap is a subset of rap. That was the most popular music at that time. So Jeffrey sought to find out how can he accomplish his mission to be a successful rapper. So he had the internet. They were poor, but they had phones with the internet. So he would Google and look up and get on social media every accomplished rap artist and see what made them special. And Jeffrey would listen to beat after beat after beat. These are billions of musical chords that he listened to. And he tried and he forced himself to be able to speak fast within the beat and rhyme words. Jeffrey can't sit there and write out the words. He doesn't spell well. But he can listen and learn and look up what words mean, or just make up words to put them into the beat. And Jeffrey studied two rap artists particularly. He idolized a gentleman named Dwayne Carter. His performing name is Lil Wayne. Jeffrey also idolized Tupac. And Jeffrey looked at, what is Lil Wayne doing that's making him so successful? Because Lil Wayne is right before Jeffrey. He is born on September 27th of 1982. He's 9 years older than Jeffrey. And Lil Wayne, by the time that Jeffrey came along, has exploded. He is a superstar. And Lil Wayne changed the culture. It was more than just the sound of the music. Now, Jeffrey studied Lil Wayne so much, he sounded like Lil Wayne. You're going to hear witness after witness that Jeffrey sounded just like Lil Wayne. But Jeffrey realized that Lil Wayne had a following, a fan base, and people who dressed like Lil Wayne. It used to be that rappers wore baggy pants, big uniforms from teams. Lil Wayne changed it. He wore proper fitting pants. Lil Wayne tattooed his face. He's the first one. Jeffrey has tattoos on his face. Jeffrey changed the clothing. He took what Lil Wayne did, and Jeffrey wore tight fitting pants. He's the first. He did that because when he would take his ill-fitting clothing from his sisters, they were tight jeans.
He wore jeggings
Jeffrey
because
wore
he had
tight
to.
necklaces. He wore dresses. He realized in order to become successful and to accomplish his mission of breaking those bonds, he had to capture people's experiences and make it interesting, both musically and creating a brand. He's advertising. Jeffrey was called Little Jeff. His father is Jeffrey Williams Sr. He was called Big Jeff. But Jeffrey is sounding like Lil Wayne. He's trying to emulate Lil Wayne on social media. He called himself Little Jeff and Lil Wayne. He thought that that doesn't sound good. That's a bridge too far. So Jeffrey wanted to have a performing name. So he looked to Tupac. You will learn that in 1983, the incomparable talent Michael Jackson released a song. It went around the globe. P.Y.T. Pretty Young Thing. About 13 years later, Tupac is featured on a song with Smooth. And that song is P.Y.T. Playa, P-L-A-Y-A, Young Thugs. And on that song, there's a repeat of words. And this really connected with Jeffrey. It's a black man that not too many understand. That's what Jeffrey felt about people with nice color skin. Jeffrey had interest in women. But he never considered himself a player. A player to Jeffrey was somebody who had the girls kind of coming
That
at
will
him.
go well with the females.
Jeffrey wasn't like that. Jeffrey was shy. He was really tall and really skinny. He was malnourished. His teeth were rotten. There was no money to go to a dentist. And all the sugar from the candy that he ate to keep substance in his body rotted his teeth. So Jeffrey would speak by covering his teeth with his lips, or often speak like this with his hand or his arm over his teeth, because he had low self-esteem. He was made fun of and bullied growing up. So he got rid of the player. That was not going to work for him. But he
Yes, Jeffrey
Young
Williams.
Thugs. He got
That's
rid
the
of
artist name
and he
of
became
Young Thug.
a performer, Young Thug. And from that day forward, he insisted everybody call him Young Thug. On every type of tweet, Facebook, social media of any kind, on any records, he refers to himself as Young Thug. And that fit in to the appearance of the gangster rap.
Oh, come on. I have heard.
Because most people think about a
Oh,
thug
we
as
are caught up.
a criminal.
That's what happened.
But to Jeffrey, thug had a different meaning.
I don't know
some of you
who
read
in the
books
courtroom who is banging the microphone, but
About
please
Tupac
stop
and what
it.
it meant to be thug life. Thug life, the hate you give little infants, Fs,
This is
everyone. Meaning
a
discrimination
sympathy
and racism
opening.
hurts all of us.
Hopefully he will
We
get
teach that to our
to
kids.
refute.
That was
Prosecution
not
has jack crap, and
Thug meant to Jeffrey. Thug meant and means to Jeffrey something very personal. It was his path that if he could ever make it as a musical artist and help his family, himself, and as many others out of this endless cycle of hopelessness, he would be truly humble under God. That's what thug
You
means.
just said he couldn't read and spell. He made an anagram, or not an anagram.
Jeffrey is talented. He worked so hard, he'd outwork everyone. He would stay up all night after night trying to rhyme words, put him to beats. When he had time and the opportunity to go into the studio, he wouldn't leave. He is a prolific creator of music. The neighborhood realized his talent. He was the best rapper in the neighborhood. So Jeffrey was invited to the underage clubs to perform. And he would be the introductory entertainer. He would be able to perform 5 or 10 minutes, $50, get paid $100 sometimes. He's about 17 years old, 2008, 2009. When Jeffrey would leave the establishment, he got robbed. And the money was gone. And that money may not be a lot of money to some of you in 2008 or 9, but to Jeffrey, it was food. It was meals for him and his family. The next time Jeffrey went for an event, he did not get armed robbed. There's a man in the community who's a man of influence in the community. He was allegedly the leader of Raise on Cleveland, the supposed gang rock crew. He was supposedly the leader of the Bloods in that area in Cleveland Avenue. His name is Quentin Porter. Goes by Boo or Big Boo.
Big Boo?
And when Jeffrey comes to make the performance, he's no longer there for 5 or 10 minutes. He is the lead performer. He's going to go last. As the time went on, the neighborhood got behind Jeffrey.
I'm not
The
a big
rock
fan
crew,
of
the
this
Bloods,
sympathy defense.
The whole neighborhood, they would put up signs on the post, come out tomorrow night. Watch our own young thug perform at this establishment. The place is sold out now. This is no longer 25, 35 people. There are hundreds of people in the club. There are hundreds of people in the parking lot trying to get into the club. There are hundreds of people backing up in the streets, all to see Young Thug. The people who own these establishments are making money. They are attracting customers. Word gets out. Jeffrey's no longer just performing in the area that he grew up in the poverty-stricken area. He's now in Atlanta, South Georgia, Alabama, Florida, South Carolina, North Carolina, Tennessee. He is performing all of the time. By 2011, Jeffrey released his first album. It's entitled, I Came From Nothing. And yes, he speaks about killing 12 and people being shot and drugs and drive-by shootings. This is the environment that he grew up in. These are the people he knew. These are the stories he knew. These are the words that he rhymed. This isn't a ballad or a book. These are phrases in a song. And whatever the listener takes from it, you will learn that's what the song means. This is art. This is freedom of speech in America. As the years go on, 2013, 2014, Jeffrey's now 22, 23. It's unbelievable. He has 3 hit songs that are going around the world. Stoner, Danny Glover, and Lifestyle. He is making music videos professionally. He is working with some of the biggest artists in hip hop. It worked. It's unbelievable. He is not running this criminal street gang in Cleveland Avenue area of Cleveland to gain property, money, or power. Jeffrey Williams did it on will and hard work and determination without anybody's help, except the people from that area that he will not turn his back on. By 2014, to today, you will learn. Jeffrey Williams has been nominated and won and recognized MTV, United Kingdom, American Soul Train Music Awards. He is a Grammy Award winner. XXL Awards, BET Awards, Billboard Music Awards. Every single year since 2014, that's what he has accomplished. He is not sitting there telling people to kill people. He doesn't need their money. Jeffrey's worth tens of millions of dollars. Jeffrey has been a sponsor for Puma, Calvin Klein. He has been featured on the cover of Rolling Stone magazine, GQ magazine, XXL magazine, Paper magazine, Complex magazine, Variety Interview magazine. He is at the top of his craft.
There goes through. Yeah. The prosecution alleges that this street gang were the racketeering is having this criminal enterprise in order to gain money and stuff. And this
Yeah.
defense lawyer finally is getting into why would he do that when he started to make millions back in 2013, 2014.
True.
So that is to preempt what the prosecution will say about finding cash, finding jewelry, finding stuff. Yeah.
Jeffrey is so
Too
talented in music.
long-winded.
He doesn't
but
only do
that's
gangster
me.
rap. He does rap, gangster rap. He has hits
There's a difference.
in country music,
Are you asking me?
popular music or pop music,
I'm
rap
the
music,
whitest man on the
Afro
planet.
beats. He's been featured
Have you met me?
on
We can compete in the
NPR,
Clear Olympics.
Tiny Desk.
Yeah.
He's played numerous times on Saturday Night Live, Jimmy Fallon Show.
That's an
Jeffrey
indictment.
has performed in almost every
Okay, Jimmy Fallon, you're
continent
guilty,
on the
dude.
earth. He's performed in front of more than 300,000 people that come for him. His social media feed has more than 10 million followers. He's not the cradle.
Hi, Becca. Hi, Becca.
He's trying to pull people out of poverty. Jeffrey has performed with the likes of Rihanna, Ed Sheeran, Sir Elton John, Drake. Everybody in music. And Jeffrey didn't only stay in music. He did fashion. He's an icon in fashion. He has been to Paris, to Spain, all over Europe at the fashion shows. He has his own clothing lines. People are walking around the earth today.
This
with
is when you
Jeffrey's
start
picture
to tell them
tattooed
how much
on
he
their
gave back
calves,
to the
on their
community.
shoulders. They have his lyrics on their bodies.
Because now it's starting to get braggy.
YSL.
Yeah.
When Jeffrey was coming up and making it, Lil Wayne had and repped, talked about Cash Money Records. That's his label. Jeffrey's friends in Cleveland Avenue, they call themselves YSL. Because on the pants, the tight-fitting pants, the women's pants that they're wearing, it says YSL. Yves Saint
They
Laurent.
stole their mom's
That's where
mom
that comes
jeans.
from.
Oh, they're claiming Yves Saint Laurent. Okay. Not buying that at
Ladies and
all.
gentlemen,
They might use the letters, but clearly it's either Young Slime Life or Young Successful Life. I think that's well established. But yeah, okay.
Jeffrey stands before you, charged with some of the most serious crimes in the state of Georgia. I'd like to go through with you each and every crime he's charged with in the indictment. The indictment's
Can you
fit.
do it in 40 minutes before Jody Aris starts?
Honorable Judge Glenville will give it to you. You should read it. It's the charging document. It is critical in the case. There are many counts. Most of them Jeffrey's not charged with. But everybody, there were 28 people who the prosecution, through the grand jury, indicted together. They're all in count one. That's why this is a joint trial, because everyone's in count one. That was the decision of the prosecutors. You will learn that Jeffrey doesn't even know most of the people in this indictment. He doesn't know them. They all know him because everybody in that area knows Jeffrey Williams. He is known as the Michael Jordan of that area. he didn't get out and stay away. He tries to come back and give people hope because he knows what it is to be depressed, hungry, and have nothing going for you. The first count is a RICO conspiracy. And the supposed objective that the prosecution charged is that Jeffrey, along with others, had a meeting of the mind. They had an agreement. They have an agenda together. And that they wanted to preserve and protect and enhance the reputation, the power, the territory of YSL. That's the allegation. Jeffrey hasn't lived in the Cleveland Avenue area in a decade, more. He has homes from Los Angeles to Atlanta. But they charge him with, he wants the reputation, power, territory of the enterprise by obtaining money, weapons, or other property. Jeffrey needs no money from somebody on robbing someone of a car. We're doing a $30 drug deal, or even $100 million drug. He's got his own source of legitimate income. So RICO conspiracy, there are then what's called overt acts. The judge will charge you on the law, but there are 191 overt acts. And those are separate instances that the prosecution said they're going to prove. Most of them don't include Jeffrey, but the ones that do, I'd like to go through with you. And I've broken it up into 3 categories because an overt act can be a crime. It doesn't have to be.
Red Rumble, Gold Leaf, Go Pal. Shouldn't they be indicting Oprah Winfrey?
Well,
well, yeah, that would be a separate trial that I would stream the ever-living fuck out of if they ever got to that.
I do want to know where Stedman has gone. I feel like we need to put an APB out for him.
Yeah. Oh.
A crime. So I then wrote chats, social media, any type of statement, because the prosecution has been investigating Jeffrey for a decade. They have all of his personal chats. You think you're talking to somebody on Facebook in a personal chat, they have all of his thoughts. They put these in the indictment. The third category are lyrics. So I'd like to go through them with you. First is going to be supposed crimes, and these are the overt acts that you will see that involve Jeffrey. As you can see, Jeffrey has never been convicted of a crime. He stands before you, he's not a convicted felon. He can vote, he can carry a gun, he can be on a jury. But now, these acts are embedded in the indictment. So let's start with the first one.
Can we see it, please?
So this is September 9th of 2013. Jeffrey just turned the age of 22. And he's driving in a car, and he gets stopped, of course, for failure to maintain a lane. And the police officer comes up to the car, and Jeffrey doesn't have a license, doesn't have a valid driver's license. So now he's under arrest. Police officer says
$1 bazillion, but he doesn't have a license.
Xanax pills, 7 of them, on the console. Police officer searches the car, and underneath the front passenger seat, there's no passenger. is a gun. That weapon comes back stolen from Andrew and Ann Phillips months before. There's no evidence that Jeffrey's involved in that burglary of the Phillips home. There's no evidence Jeffrey ever touched that gun. You're not going to hear any type of DNA, fingerprints. In fact, Jeffrey says, that's not my gun. Police officer wants to know, whose gun is it? Jeffrey's not talking to police. So Jeffrey gets arrested. That case got dismissed. But 10 years ago now, it's an overt act for you to consider. You will learn that this stop was video recorded and audio recorded. But the City of Atlanta Police Department, the District Attorney's Office of Fulton County, I demanded that. They can't find it. So you're going to rely on a report of an officer who doesn't remember this incident.
Hey, Valhalla!
That's an act in furtherance of a conspiracy. That's the entirety of that first overt act. The next one. This is overt act 5 through 7. You may notice that Jeffrey's not even alleged to be in this overt act, but now you're going to hear Jeffrey's supposed involvement. This is 2 days later. It's September 11th, an infamous day in America. It's 2013. Jeffrey was arrested, if you remember, from the last overt act, September 9th, 2013. He made bond. He just got out. Walter Murphy, he grew up with Jeffrey. He's one of the people that would exchange dirty clothing with Jeffrey. You will learn that they would have no money between them. One of them would come across $1. They would split the food that they could buy with that dollar together. Walter Murphy is with a person named Adrian Bean and Fred Plethora. And there is an armed robbery of Mr. Dotson. Gunfire went out. Police are always in this area. So when the gunfire was heard, police respond immediately. Adrian Bean is driving the car. This is a car that he borrowed from a friend. This has nothing to do with Jeffrey. So he commits a crime in someone else's car. Adrian Bean almost kills a police officer, almost runs him over, driving so recklessly, high rate of speed, goes across a neighbor's lawn, over an embankment. The car is now airborne. It goes over, you'll see pictures, goes over a parked police car in a parking lot and slams into the side of a laundromat.
I want to see the video of that.
Kind of me too, same.
Mr. Plethora was shot.
I mean, I feel bad about it, but I do.
Mr. Murphy is shot. Mr. Bean runs away.
Sorry.
He's
Mr.
captured.
Bean runs away. Do we get the
Mr.
Benny
Bean,
Hinn music?
you will learn his soul. Hey, we believe there was a fourth person in that car. If you make that young thug, we'll go lenient on you. Adrian Bean is in the Fulton County Jail talking with his wife. He said, I should have ran the way Thug ran. He got away. That's recorded anytime an inmate, a person, is incarcerated,
That can be interpreted as he should have gone, I should have started a music career. I mean, not that he should have, I don't know.
in a jail. Most of the time, they're speaking with a pastor. lawyer, their calls are being recorded. You will
Who
learn
in the courtroom or keep banging
Then
a
Mr. Bean-
microphone?
also stated on a recorded call, they gave us a story to tell. Mr. Bean is interviewed 4 days later, September 17th, 2013, by Detective Quinn, City of Atlanta Police Department. Detective Quinn it's a big case because police officers are discharging their weapon. People are getting shot. Detective Quinn interviews Adrian Bean. And Adrian Bean tells him, they talk about this recording. Adrian Bean tells him, I lied to my wife. Everything on those recordings are not true. Jeffrey was never arrested for this. He was never charged for this. He was never prosecuted for this. He's not even in our indictment on Overt Act 5, 6, or 7. But now, we're going to hear from Mr. Bean. That's it for the next one. Further this conspiracy. Jeffrey was not even charged. Next Overt Act is January 7th of 2015. Now, this is a larger part of our case, probably. God forbid, Donovan Thomas is going to be killed 3 days later. It's going to be January 10th of 2015. And in order to understand this rental car, and there's nothing clearly wrong with renting a car. But in order to understand this rental car, and then 3 days later, the killing of Donovan Thomas, you have to understand some background. So we're shortly before New Year's of 2015. And there's a man named Kenneth Copeland. He goes by Rudy.
Copeland? I
Kenneth
recognize that
Copeland
name.
is not friends with Jeffrey Williams. He uses Jeffrey Williams, just like a lot of people. Because Kenneth Copeland wants to be famous and have money. So he leeches on to Jeffrey Williams about a year before that. Well, Kenneth Copeland is a criminal. He is a notorious criminal. In fact, you will learn that he was ranked one of the 10 most violent people in Georgia by the federal prosecutor here in Atlanta. That is Kenneth Copeland. Kenneth Copeland breaks into cars. He steals the property they're in. Donovan Thomas is the head of a gang called IF, Inglewood Family. Donovan Thomas and Jeffrey are friends. Jeffrey's friends with everybody. It promotes him. And Jeffrey tries to help other people at the same time. Kenneth Copeland breaks into Donovan Thomas's car. And he takes his expensive chain, Donovan Thomas's wallet, his driver's license, and Donovan Thomas's cellular telephone. Donovan Thomas calls his cellular telephone. Kenneth Copeland answers the call on Donovan Thomas's phone. Kenneth Copeland changes his voice, tries to disguise his voice, but Donovan Thomas knows it's Kenneth Copeland.
Jingles is here. Jingles, say hello to the audience. Hello. Oh, you're tenderizing my shoulder now. Yeah. Hello. This asshole woke me up around 4 o'clock this morning. Thank you.
What a jerk.
Yeah.
Simon Thomas has people on the street. And he tells Kenneth Copeland, "You have my stuff. I'm going to come and get it back." And Kenneth Copeland says, "Yeah, I'm glad you called me. Because one of my partners had your stuff. I realized it was yours, so I got it for you for safekeeping. No problem." When Donovan Thomas meets with Kenneth Copeland, he doesn't come alone. He comes with 2 other people, and they display guns. Kenneth Copeland's not alone. He's with his brother. They're really not related, but they call themselves brothers. His name is Demekian Garlington. Demekian Garlington and Kenneth Copeland are like this. They are inseparable. Demekian Garlington and Kenneth Copeland are together. When Donovan Thomas comes, he makes it known that Kenneth Copeland is on the menu. Meaning Kenneth Copeland is going to be hurt. He just stole Donovan Thomas's property. It is now January 6th. It's really January 5th. It's a Monday night going into Tuesday morning, January 6th of 2010. It's going to be the day before this first rental car. And Kenneth Copeland is with a lot of people. Jeffrey's there. Jeffrey was performing on stage at Club Crucial. Monday night was Club Crucial night. That's where they all went. And Kenneth Copeland goes in the back, in the kitchen area, and he's met there by a man named Kelvin Watts. He goes by Shell Kel, and who's a half-brother of Donovan Thomas, and other people who are affiliated with Donovan Thomas, and Kenneth Copeland gets beat. He has bumps on his head, his eye is injured, he's being kicked. No one does that to Kenneth Copeland. Kenneth Copeland's the person who puts the bumps on the head, injures the person, kicks him. Kenneth Copeland's mad. And you will learn that Kenneth Copeland then went on a mission. He went to every place that he knew that Donovan Thomas or one of his brothers or friends were, or family members, and he would shoot at them.
Look how
with his
happy
weapon.
Jingles is. Doesn't he look amused?
On the 7th day of January 2015,
He's going to kill me
Kenneth
anyways.
Copeland told Jeffrey,
Probably. This is the last time we see
"I'm
Nicholas
going to be
on
with
screen.
my child just born. The mother of my child, her name is Miss Quarterman. And I don't want to be driving around in the typical car I drive around in, Dodge Charger. Can I use one of your rental cars?" Jeffrey does this for everybody. People need to take someone to a doctor. People want to go out of the state. They don't have transportation. He rents cars all the time. Jeffrey says, "Yeah, there's a rental car here. It's a Corvette." Kenneth Copeland says, "That's a 2-seater. My child has a baby seat. That's too small." Jeffrey rents a car at the Atlanta airport on the evening of January 7, 2015, along with Kenneth Copeland. After they drop off the Corvette, the same location. This rental car is in Jeffrey's name. When they leave the rental car location, Kenneth Copeland wants to pick up his brother, Demekian Garlington. And after Jeffrey is dropped off, Jeffrey does not see that Infinity vehicle until after the killing.
There might be 4 more after this.
That Infinity vehicle, that rental car,
And they
is in
started
the possession
2
and
hours
control
late.
of Kenneth Copeland that whole time. The 8th of January, Kenneth Copeland is shooting at Donovan Thomas and his friends, associates. He's using this Infinity vehicle, he's using another vehicle. He is on a spree. It's now January 10th of 2015. There's a New England Patriot, Baltimore Raven playoff football game. It's Saturday evening. Donovan Thomas is watching the game from inside a barbershop with a lot of other people, his friends. At approximately 7:22 that evening, Saturday, January 10th, 2015, Donovan Thomas is outside of that barbershop. His Chevrolet Tahoe is parked in that parking lot. Car drives by. You'll see a video, a surveillance video from the stores. You'll see sparks, it's gunfire. Donovan Thomas is struck. Fatally. The EMTs try to save him. He's taken to Grady Hospital, surgery after surgery, and he leaves us. 2 other people were shot as well, but their injuries were not fatal. Later that day, that evening, Jeffrey, you will learn, is in negotiation with his record label. They want to give Jeffrey over $800,000 up front. And the contract's worth millions to produce these records. That's what Jeffrey was working on. He was working on a music video. No one's going to say that Jeffrey was at that scene of the shooting.
Yeah, don't lend out your cars.
But later, Kenneth Copeland, when he's arrested, he tells the police lie after lie after lie after lie. Kenneth Copeland says Jeffrey Williams was involved in that shooting. Although Kenneth Copeland said, I don't know anything about him, just tell me what I heard. Kenneth Copeland's one of those liars in the neighborhood that everyone knows, that becomes a witness, swears to tell God's honest truth. You will learn that after the shooting of Donovan Thomas, his associates did not take that way. Immediately, word on the street is that Kenneth Copeland, Moody, is responsible. Kenneth Copeland, it's now after 10 p.m., it's hours after shooting. He's then at Jeffrey's home, along with a lot of people. They're all scared they're going to be killed. They're all telling, I had nothing to do with it. Jeffrey, you will learn, he's friends with Donovan Thomas. Jeffrey puts Donovan Thomas in his music videos. Donovan Thomas invited Jeffrey just recently to come into his neighborhood to shoot a music video with him in it. Jeffrey's not happy He is saying, Kenneth Copeland says, the police are calling Kenneth Copeland. The police are right on him. You will learn, and it's on recording, that Kenneth Copeland goes into the police station later that morning, so it's a very early
Yes,
morning
Sonny.
hours, January 11th of
Multi-talented and easily bored.
15, and he's with Detective Thorpe. Detective Thorpe is recording this. And Kenneth Copeland says, yeah, I got your call. I was at Jeffrey Williams' house, Thug's house. Everyone knows Jeff. And I told him that the police won't talk to me. Jeffrey said, if you had nothing to do with this, you should go talk to the police. That's what Jeffrey said. Detective Thorpe asked Kenneth Copeland, this is hours after the killing. Do you have anything to do with a rental car, an Infinity rental car? Were you in an accident in an Infinity rental car? And Kenneth Copeland says, no. He's just a liar. Kenneth Copeland tells Detective Thorpe, earlier today, during the time of the killing, I was at the Green Store. The Green Store is like a grocery store. It's green in color. It's called the Green Store. It's not far from where Donovan Thomas was got killed. You will learn that there's video surveillance inside and outside of the Green Store. Supposedly, Detective Thorpe, who is a qualified law enforcement officer, he's been doing this forever. I'm being told that, no, we never got the video of the Green Store to support the supposed alibi of Kenneth Copeland. No one corroborates Kenneth Copeland and where he was. You will learn that Kenneth Copeland eventually says, it's now June of 2000.
Attorney Brian Steele must be much more interesting for the jury with this than he is for me at the moment.
Well, I think it's because
I can't imagine. Yeah.
we don't know all the people, or there's so many people that you're trying to keep track of. And I'm guessing Kenneth Copeland's defense attorney is going to come up next and say, no, it was actually young Jeffrey, what's his face? He was in the car. It was all him. No one did it. It was the car's fault.
I think Copeland isn't indicted here. I think he's incarcerated. Either he pled out or he's just a witness.
Oh.
But Brian Steele has been a criminal defense lawyer since 1991. So, yeah, I would assume he knows his jury. He might not know me or my viewers, but he must know the jury. So, yeah. And he's been doing good at the hearings. But so I'm a bit shell-shocked that he is taking this approach here. But hey, if it works, it works. And he doesn't have to entertain us. He only has to entertain the jury.
True.
But, yeah. I doubt he will be done in the next 10 minutes, though. But, yeah, because all of you know, every Tuesday, every Saturday at noon Eastern time, every Tuesday we're doing an episode of the Jodi Arias trial. We are currently watching the Jodi Arias cross-examination, and she's been getting slaughtered at the stand. I mean, on Saturdays, she tried to smirk, but that smirk is fading fast. So that will be a palate cleanser for this kind of dullity. And but let's see if we can get this over with in the next 10 minutes. If not, we are just moving over to hear Prosecutor Gnome scream at Jodi Arias for an hour, and then we will come back to this. All right.
2015, gets rearrested. He doesn't want to be in jail. He speaks with the police. He's now with Detective Dennis, Detective Gaither, also City of Atlanta police officers. They're detectives with the gang unit homicide. Kenneth Copeland says, oh yeah, the night of the killing down in Thomas, I wasn't involved. But I saw Jeffrey Williams. He's at the McDonald's on Cleveland Avenue. I saw him with all these other people. And then I followed him to his home. It's about 8 o'clock at night. There are videos at the McDonald's. They don't have any video. They never bother to get any video. We can try. But we have phone records. And phone records can show that they're not GPS. This is not.
That's no. I started a poll after this trial, this court day started late. What will go wrong today? With 25% judge late, 31% lawyer late. We don't know. 44%, and the winner is D.A. Fanny and Miss Love got married. And yeah, because I'm 12 years old, and yeah.
Well, I would go with that one anyway.
Yeah. So yeah. So we will see if Miss D.A. Fanny Love does an appearance. I'm so sorry.
It is okay.
Yeah. But I will end that poll now. Thank you all that participated in it. I will make a new poll for this afternoon session. But let's do this last 7 minutes or something.
5 feet this area you call E911 or something. But it gives you range, maybe 1.5 miles, maybe more. And tells you which tower you're hitting off of. Kenneth Copeland tells the police, I followed Jeffrey Williams' car to his house about 8 o'clock. That's not true. When you track Kenneth Copeland's phone records, he doesn't go near Jeffrey. He doesn't see Jeffrey that night. He doesn't follow Jeffrey home. He doesn't go to Jeffrey's home until after 10. This is all a lie. Kenneth Copeland was told by the police, we want Thug. That's how he gets a deal. Because Kenneth Copeland was also told, you're an armed career criminal. You're going to spend 25 years in federal custody for having a gun. You're going to be dying in the state of Georgia custody because we're going to charge you with gang crime after gang crime after gang crime. But you can help yourself out. On Kenneth Copeland's word, Jeffrey Williams stands here concerning that overact.
Yeah. This court will break for lunch somewhere between noon and 12:30 anyways. So nobody will miss much of anything. And once we get back from Jodi, we will get through it all anyways without any break for lunch. So yeah, I think because I know I can babble on for an hour or an hour and a half while we wait for the court to return, but you all know this court is always late.
Yes.
Jeffrey Williams rents a car in his own name to use in a homicide of his friend.
So you're going with your client isn't dumb enough to do that.
Antonio
Okay.
Sledge. They're all at Jeffrey's home, and they're all scared. They're saying, Donovan Thomas's friends are going to kill us. They think we're involved. Jeffrey gives money to Antonio Sledge so he and his family can get a hotel room and not suffer a potential drive-by shooting. Because Kenneth Copeland said they're all going to be killed.
Oh, come on.
Kenneth Copeland made them all supposed targets by the IFN. Kenneth Copeland, Shannon Jackson, Kendrick.
Yes, everything is set up for today. You will have the link, you will have a redirect, and if the redirect doesn't work, you use the link.
Miami.
And same when we get back this afternoon with the rest of today's trial.
Jeffrey wanted them to be safe, not get hurt, until people calm down. Jeffrey then sent them back to Atlanta. Jeffrey then went on tour, because you will learn by April 2015, Jeffrey did his first nationwide tour. He did with a performer known as Travis Scott. In the summer of 2015, Jeffrey then toured Europe, performing there, and going to fashion shows. Jeffrey Williams is not involved. On the next overt act, you will see these are the people. This is overt act number 17 and 18 and 19 and 20. And this is charging murder and then attempted murder for shooting the second person who was shot that night, and then the third person, Mr. Sanders, who was shot that night, and then participation in criminal street gang activity. You may notice that the overt act doesn't even include Jeffrey. No one charges Jeffrey with murder. But here we are. The next overt act is April 26, 2015. Jeffrey is touring. He is performing. He's in Louisiana. Lil Wayne, his idol, Jeffrey idolizes him, came out against Jeffrey, called him gay. Jeffrey did a promotional social media release where there's people with guns on either side of him, and Jeffrey saying, come to this concert, we'll see what happens, come on to the concert. Jeffrey was told to do that video and release by his management team. Because when Lil Wayne says don't listen to his music, that impacts him. Lil Wayne is bigger than Jeffrey Williams at that time. So this creates interest in fans. You will learn that this is part of being involved in hip hop or rap. There's all these battles going across social media. It generates interest, much like the NFL have rivalries with the Saints and the Falcons.
Thank you,
they hate each other.
Becca Lynn, for becoming a member.
Generating advertising. It's branding.
It's branding. Yeah, look at the YouTubes. There are drama everywhere, apparently. I don't give a shit about it, so nobody tries to create drama with me, I hope. If you do, don't bother. I'm told to give
I
a fuck.
thought we were going to fake a big beef to, get
Oh,
followers.
yeah.
And such.
Oh, boo for Mo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, but it is noon. They will break for lunch. Then they will have at least an hour's lunch. So I will send you all over to Jody. I will, Simon says, simultaneously try to start that up so you walk into a ready stream. And there. I hope I can do that. I have no idea. We will see. So I will press go live, and Mo will show up because I have to take a leak so badly it almost hurts. Okay.
Same.
Oh, this will be interesting. Well, let's see here.
1 second. You go first. We'll switch. So
We'll
I'll be
switch.
in Jody.
Yeah.
I'll be here for Jody. Not
Okay.
in Jody. That's weird.
Okay. Oh, hold on
Well, I
while
mean,
I
she
start
has
up.
been in prison.
Let's see here.
Wait, I
I
have to
will
leave.
do. You have to leave?
Well, I'll leave this studio and I'm in
Yeah.
the other one now.
Okay.
So
Okay, she left. And I can see her over at the other studio. I will start the Yodi intro and go live, which gets us to 1 minute. And go live. Yodi intro. See you over there.